Hello students, good evening. In today's video lecture for class 10th, we'll start the chapter and the name of the chapter is Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Long Walk to Freedom means it was a long struggle for freedom. It was not a very simple walk. Before we start the explanation part, let's move on. Let's know about writer Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, commonly known as Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary and politician who served as president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. Then he gained international acclaim for his anti-colonial rule and he received more than 250 honors including the 1993 Nobel Prize for Peace. He is often described as the father of the nation, and the nation is South Africa. He was also founder of a party that is African National Congress. As you can see in the text, there is some very important line given for us, apartheid, and it means it's a political system that separates people according to their race. So such kind of system was prevailed in olden days. Now let's talk about Nelson Mandela. What was he and what did he do? Mandela had to spend 30 years, as the chapter disclosed. Very important fact here about him. He spent 30 years in prison. Finally, democratic elections were held in South Africa in 1994 and Mandela became the first black president of a new nation. Colored president, black president. Now there's some other introductory notes. You students, you all are requested to go through it and enhance your understanding. There are some very good metaphors used in this question. You can see this. So after the reading of the chapter, you will well understood this. You will be able to understand it well and you can match it. It's matching what type of exercise. There are certain expressions or metaphor expressions, you can match them later on. So here we go. 10th May dawned bright and clear, means 10th May started very bright and clear. Why he put more stress on 10th May? Because that's a very specific day today. I had been pleasantly besieged means surrounded by dignitaries, means other powerful people, dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respect before the inauguration. So what this paragraph is talking about, it's talking about inauguration ceremony. When the day Mandela had to take his oath. So oath taking ceremony, this paragraph talks about. And this inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil, means South African ground. So 10th May is the day, that's why he said it, the day dawned bright and clear. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone. Sandstone means something, a building that is made out of sandstone, and amphitheater. It's written here amphitheater. Amphitheater, the meaning is given. Amphitheater means a building without a roof with many rows of seats, but it's without a roof. So the place, the venue was here. For decades means decade is a time of 10 years. This had been the seat of white supremacy. What does it mean? Means for decades, this high place has been taken or captured by the people, we call them white supremacy. Color means the white people. No black was permitted to, allowed to be at this high dignitary post. And now it was the site means a view of a rainbow gathering. It's again a very good metaphor that was given in earlier exercise I was talking about. Rainbow gathering means all kind of people are there, colored people, white people mix up. So that is rainbow gathering of different colors it's given, and nations and other nations people are also there. So that is why it was called rainbow gathering. And why Mandela is very happy on this? Because it's not a very normal day. It's the day of installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So on that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied. Who is I in this line? Means it's Nelson Mandela. So whenever there is I written in any text, we call it is the paragraph is written in first person. I. So I means it's Mandela. So this paragraph is written in first person. Means he is writer because it's a an autobiographical sketch written by him. You can see Nelson Mandela here. So so before he takes oath, there are many other people they also took oath. Like on the podium first, Mr. D. Clerk was sworn in as second deputy president, and Mandela was accompanied by his daughter. That is, her name is also given in the previous page. That is Janani, Jenani, Janani. And before he takes oath, the two most dignitary, most important people took oath as well. So, and the secondly, Tambo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. When it was my turn, means when it was Mandela's turn, he said that he pledged to obey and uphold the constitution and to devote himself for republic or for people. So now the next paragraph where today onward we see in this line. So this talks about his address. Today all of us do by our presence here confer glory and hope to newborn liberty. What is that newborn liberty? You know that very newly Africa has got its freedom from the rule of whites. So that is why it is called newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster, and what was that extraordinary human disaster? That is not very common disaster of human being. Killing of means the torture of oppression kind of thing with those revolutionaries. That is why he called it extraordinary human disaster. And that lasted too long. Means before the achieving of independence, the people of all such kind of revolutionaries, black people of Africa, had to undergo this long torture or long disaster. We who were outlaws not so long ago have today been given the rare privilege to be the host to the nation. Means we are the same people who earlier were not given any right. We were outlaws. They were not given any privilege. By decree, they were not the citizen of the nation. And today, there is a big change, and they are such real people to be given that privilege. A privilege means very specific kind of rights. So they are given this privilege. So we thank all of our distinguished international guests. And who are these distinguished international guests? The people who have come from all around other countries, like from India, from other countries. That after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. So this liberty he calls not only a liberty or just not taking oath of a country, but it is a starting of common victory for common people. We call it victory for justice, for peace. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. And what is political emancipation? Freedom from restrictions. It is given here. Deprivation, poverty, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Discrimination means when people are being discriminated or treated differently or unfavorably on the basis of something that is very baseless. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement, and he calls it a so glorious human achievement. Now the sun shall never set on this land. So sunset here not means sunset only, it means this kingdom of liberty will now persist for long. And finally he says, let freedom reign, God bless Africa. Means who should prevail in Africa now? Freedom. And who should rule in the nation? Torture should not rule in the nation, but autocracy should not rule in the nation, but freedom should rule in the nation. So, with that note, the first part of this chapter ends. There are some oral comprehension questions. Students, you all are expected to do all these four questions. One is this. Second, can you say how 10 May is an autumn day in South Africa? It's quite different question. I feel that you need to do some extra work for it because question number two you will not be able to find in the previous text we understood just earlier. Why? How 10th May may be in autumn? Because in our country, autumn is not in May month. So, how it can be possible in Africa? It is in 10th of May. You need to find out this. And there are three more questions of comprehension. You all are expected to do these all five questions in your practice notebook, and you can do it in your fair notebook as well. We'll continue the second remaining part of this chapter in the next video. Thank you for watching.